Hey, BecomingMeTV. We're in this series, questions everyone is asking, but no one wants to answer. Today, we're diving into the question, how can I navigate healing from my loved one passing away? Join me as my friends Brianna and Allie unpack this question.
So, a question I have received a lot is how I can navigate healing after losing my mom and losing a loved one. It's something that is really difficult to navigate after you've experienced such a tragedy. When I lost my mom, it was really difficult just because it was so sudden. She'd been in the hospital for about 2 months before she passed away, and it's hard as a 13-year-old to comprehend the fact that I'll never see her again, at least in this life. And it's hard to navigate the waters of life after realizing that experiencing moments such as graduating high school or college or getting married, she's not going to be there. And so it's really difficult to go through that alone or with just your family. One of the things that I really experienced after my mom's death was a little bit of depression. And that is, a stage of grief, is understanding, and you go through these waves of feeling alone and then okay and then sad, and the overwhelming feelings will just creep up on you. And one of the biggest things that I've learned is that you just have to be okay with feeling how you're feeling. You have to be okay to feel happy. You have to be okay feeling that you're sad and that you miss that person. I miss my mom almost every single day. There are moments where I just want her around and I want to experience this with her. But you just have to know that it's going to be okay, and that with God's love, you have the safety and knowledge that you're going to see them again. And that is one of the biggest things that grants me hope in this life.
The most challenging times in my faith was when my dad passed away 2 years ago. My dad was one of my favorite people, and he just really understood who I am as a person and really always encouraged me to be the person that God was calling me to be. So I know in my head that my dad had a really strong faith and is now with Christ and is now 100% cancer-free for the rest of eternity. But I, in my heart, really struggled with anger and frustration and just trying to figure out where God was in the midst of everything. And I just kept having this overwhelming feeling that God wasn't just standing there patting me on the back saying, "It's going to be okay, don't worry," but He was mourning with me and weeping with me. And we see that in the Bible in John 11, where Jesus has a friend, Lazarus, who passes away. And he knows that Lazarus' death is not permanent. He knows that a few days later, he's going to raise him from the dead. And he says as much. He said, Lazarus' sickness will not end in death, and that it's for God's glory, and so that God's Son may be glorified through it. But yet, a few days later, when he's visiting Mary and Martha, Lazarus' sisters, he goes to the tomb and he weeps. And so he understands those feelings of mourning and pain and suffering that we feel here on this earth, regardless of what the eternal ramifications of it are. And I think sometimes we have this feeling that we need to be strong or suck it up, but tears are emotional relief, and they remind us of what's important in life. And even more than that, if your loved one is a Christian like my dad was, you can rejoice that they are now with Christ. And it just really puts things in perspective and reminds us that this life that we live is temporary and that this is not our real home. And it also brings this sense of urgency that while we are here, we need to be bringing people into God's kingdom.